Hi guys, so the leader of the Labour Party, Keir Starmer, appeared on the Andrew Marr show recently, where he was asked about his position on rejoining the European Union. Now, Starmer ruled it out. He said that he would not seek to rejoin, and he mentioned at least twice that he wants to make Brexit work. So the reaction to this online from Remainers or Rejoiners has been pretty cutting. Some have said that the Labour Party is dead to them, that Starmer is completely wrong here, that this is the wrong path to take, that he's ignoring the millions that voted to stay in the European Union back in 2016. Now, I will try to be both as objective and generous to Starmer as possible, but I'm not sure if this is the right approach. But I do understand why he's taking it. Let's hear what he had to say, and I want to say thanks to Incorrigible FCA for splicing this clip together.
So let me ask you about Brexit more generally. The OBR, the Office of Budget Responsibility, predicts that Brexit is going to cost us 4% on growth over time. Are you prepared to renegotiate to try to mitigate that, or do you think that's something we have to accept?
Well, I think, Andrew, we need to make Brexit work. It's all very well saying get Brexit done. We've got to make Brexit work. It's one of the main themes of my conference speech.
So it's the main theme of his conference speech. Make Brexit work. Now, why is he doing this? He obviously knows that get Brexit done was Boris Johnson's slogan. Make Brexit work. Make Brexit work implies that it's not working. Now, those of us on the Remain side or the Rejoin side understand that Brexit is not working because Brexit was never designed to work. So you can't actually make Brexit work. But from a political point of view, I think Starmer wants to present himself as the fixer. Boris Johnson has presented a broken deal. He's going to try and fix it. And make it work means you're going to adjust it in order for it to work. And look, the response from many people online has been, look, he has to reach out to the people who voted for Brexit but are in Labour held seats. But there are many people who are Labour supporters, but they voted for Brexit. And Starmer needs to bring these people along. Now, the argument that he's going to piss off a lot of Remainers, or people who voted to remain in the European Union back in 2016, yes, he is. But really, where have these people to go? They can go to the Liberal Democrats, they can go to the Greens. But if people who voted for Labour and voted to remain, they're not going to go anywhere else. They don't have another home. So he doesn't need to bring these people back. He doesn't need to reach out to them because they have nowhere else to go. Unfortunately, people who voted to leave the European Union and still hold that position, they can go to UKIP, they can go to the Conservatives, they can go somewhere else. So the Labour Party's approach, it seems, is to hold on to these people, to tell them, yes, Brexit, you voted for Brexit, we respect that. It's not working, but we're going to make it work. We're going to respect your vote and implement it in a sense, the way that Boris Johnson is not.
In order to do that, we have got to deal with some of the gaps and weaknesses in the current arrangements, whether that's services, whether it's
all those companies worried about border checks and the bureaucracy and the difficulty of trading with the continent at the moment. Would you do something for them?
I would do whatever I could to make it easier for British firms to trade across the world, but particularly with the EU. Now,
so I think what he's trying to do here is he's trying to say, look, to the fishing industry, you're struggling at the moment. I want to fix that. The farmers. And if I were him, I would be going to the fishing communities and I would be speaking to them and I would be saying to them, look, you voted for Brexit. We're not going to go. And look, I'm not saying that I endorse what he's doing. I'm just trying to understand it. So he would go to the fishing communities and say, I understand that you voted for Brexit. I'm going to try and fix it for you. I'm going to, if you vote for me, if I form a government, I'm going to meet with the European Union and I'm going to fix the problem that you currently face. And he would apply that to the farming community. He would apply it to exporters. He would apply it to businesses in general. Anyone who's suffering, come to me and I'll try and fix it for you. Boris Johnson is obviously not doing that. I presume that's what he's talking about.
I'm not talking,
sorry.
but just let me clear.
Okay,
what I'm not talking about is rejoining the EU. What I'm not talking about is ripping up the current agreement and starting again. Nobody wants to be in that place.
I can understand exactly why you think that, but that requires a mass renegotiation of the treaty.
Andrew, the one thing I learned in the last 6 years is that if you're out of the EU, you are constantly going to be talking to and adjusting the arrangements between Britain and the EU.
And he's correct here. We're seeing it at the moment. Brexit was never done. Boris Johnson said, get Brexit done. Brexit was not done, so Boris Johnson lied to the public. So Starmer is correct here. The relationship will continue to evolve. And as long as you're outside, you will have to negotiate bit by bit. You'll have to negotiate on everything. And I think he's preparing the public for such a scenario. But once again, I think he's trying to hold on to the people who voted Labour and voted for Brexit, and he doesn't want to lose them. But that's why he's saying we're not going to rejoin the European Union, because that would be a betrayal in their eyes. Once again, not that I agree with it, but this is my understanding of his view of the situation.
That is the nature of the beast. That is going on at the moment. Would I take steps to try and improve the lot of our businesses? Yes, I would.
So a lot of people looking at this think there is going to be a point at which the opposition says, given everything that's happened, given all the problems over farming and over trade and the frictions and so forth, we do have to go back and look at this in a big way. We do have to negotiate a different kind of arrangement going forward between Britain and the EU. Not rejoining, but a different kind of relationship. Are you ever going to get to that point?
Andrew, no rejoining, no ripping up the current arrangement and starting again. I don't think anybody wants to go through the torture of 4 or 5 years of starting again. As time goes by, of course, we're going to be in discussions with the EU about how we can improve, make Brexit work. Don't just say get Brexit done, make Brexit work.
He needs the slogans. He needs to convince the people who voted for Brexit, who used to vote for the Labour Party. He wants to welcome them back. And from a political point of view, not that I agree with it, but from a political point of view, this is probably the best approach. Because there are many people who believe it's the wrong approach to try and rejoin the European Union. Even though they are suffering at the moment, even though they are looking around and seeing that there's less money for their communities, less money arriving from Europe to help in their communities. Those people, you can't get through to them. There's no way to convince those people that rejoining the European Union is the solution. So you have to find something else. You have to say, look, we're going to make Brexit work. Boris Johnson has broken it. We're going to fix it. And I think if Starmer does follow through with this, whether it works or not, I don't know. But I think if he is going to follow through with this, he needs to go to the communities that voted for Brexit, that are likely to vote for the Labour Party or did vote for the Labour Party before, and provide them with a solution. Say to them, look, I'm not going to undo Brexit. I'm going to make it work for you. Vote for me and I'm going to fix the problems that you currently face. I'm going to negotiate with the European Union. Boris Johnson has abandoned you. I'm going to fix these problems. And I've said this before on the channel, how Starmer needs to present himself. And it's not just in regards to Brexit, but on other issues. He's the fixer. Boris Johnson, the breaker, he's the fixer. I'd love to know your comments. Let me know in the comment section, guys. As always, those comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.